Earlier this year, I looked back on the last 2 years of my life and wondered where the time had went. And this was frustrating because I know that I had spent so much time trying to work on, project trying to build up myself, or I had so many things that I wanted to achieve by certain deadlines. The person I wanted to be by that first year, by that second year, I was nowhere near. And looking back, I realized that although there were parts where I was working hard, the last 2 years have felt a bit like a blur. I didn't really know what happened, and one of the changes I've made recently, or at least since the beginning of this year, has been to track more. To track more in terms of a few things. One being tracking when I'm working. So I have an app on my laptop where whenever I sit down to do a certain task, I can select the task I'm doing and it will just start timing how long I'm doing it. And then when I'm done with that, I'll stop it and it tracks all of that data. The second thing I do is I have a Google Sheet, which sometimes if I want to track specific tasks or at least check them off in terms of every single day, I can do that as well. But the point being is I've been doing this, since really the beginning of this year. And now I see so much data in terms of what it is that I'm doing, how long I'm working, what I'm actually getting done every day, every week, every month. That's really, really key because now I have data to look at. Now I can see what's happening and what's not. If I look at, a certain month and feel like it wasn't a good month or didn't really get much done, I can look back and see, well, why was that? Right? I can actually ask those questions. I can see that. And, the same will go for perhaps, for example, if I had a good week or a good month, for example, I can see what I was doing with that. And that's really important. And I don't really think I realized how important it was to be able to just know what you're doing because honestly speaking, like I said before, the last 2 years it just felt like a blur where I know I was doing stuff, but it didn't really felt like I had made much momentum, much traction. And I think it's just if you really want to become that ideal person, whatever that is to you, I think knowing what you should be tracking and what you should be looking out for to see if you're on the right path of that is really quite important. So for me at the moment, what I'm using to track if I'm on the right path at the moment is I'm trying to make sure that I'm doing 2 YouTube videos a day for, this sort of content, the input reset. It might go to one YouTube video sort of in the future, but I want to make sure I'm creating this content, I'm scheduling it, I'm getting it out, I'm working toward that sort of thing. I'm also making sure that I want to make sure I'm doing game development every single day. So at the moment, I'm working on my video game Scarred Steel. I do have a devlog channel, which is at the bottom of this YouTube channel, but I'm sort of working towards that as well and just be able to build up that game. And I mean, these two things are really, really quite important to me. And it doesn't have to, and that's pretty much what I'm tracking, like, right? And so it doesn't have to be anything crazy in terms of what you're tracking, but it is useful to whether it be tasks, whether it be, time spent on certain things, that's what's key because then you know where to go from. And so, for example, for the content I make, I always like to track at the end of every time I've made a video, I like to look at how good was the hook, how good was the clarity, and how many filler words did I use, those sort of things, so that I can see where I can improve. And that's really key because if you have the data to know what you're doing, where you're going well, where you're not, it becomes very easy to make those adjustments to then feel like you're on the right path. So at the end of this video, I think really the main thing I want to say is track more. Track more, figure out what it is that you need to know or would be useful for you to see in order for you to feel like you're making the right steps.